Hey, fellas, we're back. Nothing happening in this market. It's no fun to watch at all. Hey, it's your regular Wednesday show here on Stocktwits, the Community Rip Live. It's your boy Bags with GP and Nick JFDI. Welcome. We appreciate you being here. Let's get started on this Wednesday at 2 o'clock. We're waiting any second now for Jay Powell to come out and say something just amazing, but no rate cut is planned, but that's where we'll start. As soon as we get the announcement, we'll let you know here first. But Nick, what's going on today? What this action is, I'm not going to say suspect, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I felt for a little while that the name of the game has just been to kind of like stay long. And I think part of staying long is not, probably playing too aggressive, because if you are, you're probably, especially on a shorter time frame, you're probably getting chopped out of some of these these wild opens. From a bullish perspective, I think the mornings getting bought up is phenomenal to see. It's very like the price action is like what I would call like post EPS drift, where a stock gaps up after like an EPS announcement, and then it just kind of like slowly drifts along like the 20-day, right? And it's just like a slow melt. It's like, dude, I can't fucking, like, how am I supposed to trade that other than, because you can only really see it in hindsight, right? Like, you can only see it in hindsight that the drift is happening or that you're in the middle of it. So I don't know. That's just kind of the price action that we're getting right now. I don't have a clue as to what's going to really like move us one direction or the other, but
well, there's just a plethora of macro stuff out there right now, right? And GP, we started this conversation last week. Like, things are getting to the point of breakdown and not breaking down, and things are getting to the point of breaking out but not breaking out. Where does that leave us, just your average Joe Schmo everyday trader?
So first of all, surprise, surprise, rates are going to do nothing again because there are data, whatever. I don't care.
Data dependent.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. Sorry, useless SMCI. I don't even know why they have a job. They've done nothing for a year. They just come out and repeat the same thing. Anyway, this is a question I posed to the guys beforehand, which is like, I'm very kind of, it's like, I'm going to refer to it as toxic price action, because it is constantly toxic. Every time you think there's going to be a breakdown, look at FSLR yesterday, right? They literally came in on Monday or whatever, the day before, right? And they went nuts on puts. News gets released, they get paid, they covered. Oh, look, not a single moment of follow through. Right? It opens at 135 and then has been stuck at 143 ever since. This has been going on across the board for weeks on end. It's almost, to me, the way I'm looking at it, it's almost like, oh, the positioning that everyone's been talking about, how hedge funds have missed, right? Have missed the positioning. They all think we're going to get a double bottom retest, etc., which what they don't see is that the double bottom was April from last year, but that's a different conversation. They all think it's a double bottom retest, but like, I don't know if they're actually, it's how they're positioning. So it's almost like they're using all these kind of breaks to accumulate, which is why we've been kind of sideways for, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks, right? Like, you give example, Nick, of GRAIL this morning, right? GRAIL. These are down, like, I'm talking about like on the opening bell, down like 8 to 10%, like that, right? Like, you see like the insane move down in GRAIL. It opened at 45 and tagged 40, just under 41. That's a 10% move in the first 30 minutes of the day, which is, and then look at where it is now, right? It's at 48, right? So it seems very, very accumulatory across the board. Tempest AI is another one that I talked about today or earlier. Just, it went from 70 all the way down to 66 for no reason whatsoever on volume, and then reversed right back up and through. So that's what I think of the price action. It's been like, you can take a look at across the board. ASTS is another one. It's a very popular name. They closed it under every pivot 3 weeks ago, I think, the 23 level on ASTS, right? You see how it kind of broke down there, and then boom, it's nearly doubled since then, right? You can see it, like they did it in Rocket Labs last week too. It was a big buying opportunity, and then it spent 4.9 days after that buy come in, basically fading the entire move and closing right at the pivot, which is the 25.39-ish. It was on heavy volume if you look at the weekly, and you're like, oh, that's kind of a bearish engulfing. And look, not a single moment of follow through. So that's my opinion, that they're trying to accumulate while they can't get the market down anymore, and that these stocks will, when they're ready or done accumulating, they will start moving much higher.
But this is happening in names across the board, BP. That's the way I feel like it. It's if it were concentrated to a sector or some of the mega names, I might could think that way a little more. We love a strong GIF, and one of my favorite ones is the preacher on stage going, "Why? Right? Like, I don't know why, but this is the action that we've got, and I don't know whether it's uncertainty from all these macro events happening out there, or it's just hedge funds and institutions pouring money in across the board, which at this level seems kind of high to be doing that when just 8 weeks ago you had better buying opportunities, and they were pouring money in.
But they weren't. It was retail, right? According to everything that got leaked, is a lot of hedge funds were in position. You can see it via.
Well, I don't know if a bar like this is credit to retail on the Qs, but I mean,
I don't think so either. But every sentiment, everything that said it is no one really bought it, right? No one, like hedge fund wise.
That's the largest green bar since January of 22.
Yeah. It's what, the second biggest day ever in the Qs.
Yeah.
But if you take a look,
that's kind of why we're getting the. I think that's probably why we're getting this kind of drift, as opposed to like any real good-looking consolidation, is because that's how hard the rip was off the lows. That it's like, you're right. Like every dip, every week open, no matter what it fucking looks like, is getting bought. Like it feels like we're tired and we're kind of churning, but at the same time, we're not exhausted. If that's how it feels to me.
It's the grind higher, right? Like, you can call it drift or you can call it grind higher. It's just, to me, the price action just is a little funny with week opens, and then in the same session, you're jumping up well beyond anything that you would expect from a week open. Not that all week opens stay weak. Right? Like, anyway.
I had a thought. Yeah. I literally had a thought at the gym this morning. I was like, I think for the rest of the summer, I'm only gonna sit down at my desk for the close. Like, I'm not even gonna bother for like I'm not even gonna bother sitting at my desk before noon. But
yeah, or
we'll see how the
Nick, you can buy any stock that hits lows at 9:45 a.m. and go green by 10 a.m. Right? Like, it's kind of nuts. You can. Like, we've talked about the stock Lemonade, right? Shitco Summer, etc. Lemonade yesterday, I don't know what that was. I have no clue what that was. Yet no follow through. It was straight down 10% without flinching on heavy volume. If you look at it, and it is now back up 8%.
That's so crazy. That's like, this is
no sense to me.
I was hoping one of you two were wiser than me on this, but I think we're all drawing straws.
Yeah. I'm
for sure.
I'm guessing, right? So, but that's the price action. So that's what I'm gonna keep using until it fails. Look, Tesla's the greatest example. This thing, when it dies, it follows through all the time, right? Like, it is. Yeah. It had a 19% down day and then has not made a single new low. Right? Look at the volume on Tesla on that day too. It was nuts. It's the highest volume since 2020. So go ahead. I'm going to stop talking.
No, I mean, again, like kind of back to what I had said earlier. Like I think, I don't know. I don't think you can pay too much attention to like the day to day. If price is trending and staying above, the moving averages you like who gives a shit what the bar looks like? Like, sure, like, okay, you might get like some like weird on a nasty outside reversal. Okay, fine, maybe. But other than that, like just let the thing play. Like, because how else would you like look at Lemonade, for instance? Like, it would have been tough to sit through that, but the whole time it held the 20-day. If instead of like trying to like for a short-term trader, instead of getting all scared on this rollover and taking the trade-off before it really breaks down, just move your stop up to under the 20-day versus trying to sell out. That's all you can really do to catch these moves. Like, there's no other way. I mean, that's kind of all I was going for. Is like,
and that's the thing, though, right? Like, if you're a short-term momentum trader, as soon as it breaks to 9, you're getting stopped out, right? And it broke the 9 yesterday, right? Like, you should be getting stopped out at the 9, right? If you're a short-term Momo trader.
I'm just going to say I chose the wrong week to sell calls against my positions. That's all. I'm just going to say that.
The moves have been so hard and fast that like it's hard to use the 20-day because of how fast price gets extended. I'm sorry, how fast price gets extended. So it's like you pretty much have to use the 10-day if you want to really protect your gains. But yeah.
What I don't know. Shitco companies did we choose, by the way?
We chose a few. I chose ROKU.
Yeah. I was gonna say pull up. OSCR was one. If we were gonna
OSCR. There we go.
Insurance. It's the new hymns. It's the new. We're in the shilling stage on those names, by the way. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's a popular like growth Momo guy name for a lot of the guys. But I just want to throw it on your radar.
Yeah, it's been on my radar, but I'm tired of not tired, but I have enough Shitcos that if this all momentum ends tomorrow, that's going to be very, very painful. It's like, so I don't want any more.
No more Shitco.
Too many. Yeah,
dude, I got enough shaking with Tesla on a daily basis that I don't need to add more.
I mean, regardless of what we want, it is still Shitco summer until it's not. And I got to pull up our good old Stocktwits trending momentarily as I change gears here. And one that we said, SMCI, right? SMCI, a lot of people love it, but potential breakout, short squeeze. I want to talk to the number one trending item right now on Stocktwits, but we'll get to Coinbase shortly. But here's SMCI. I know last week we had a couple people ask, and I think we drew that channel or that downtrend line. Just like Nick said, it's holding all your moving averages, right? So I don't know if you want to be involved in it. I mean, it's doing everything you want it to, right, Nick?
Yeah.
It's basing where it didn't base before, right, on the breakout. So it looks good. I think it's crowded by the fraud accusations from last year. So people are, but it's an inverse head and shoulder if you're looking at it, right, on the weekly.
Well, but also look at that volume just drying up, right? And GP, I know you love it when you get a low volume, all of a sudden high volume breakout, right? That usually is a gap up. So just something to watch, something to think of. You guys know I love semiconductors. SMCI fits in that category, even though there are better pure semiconductor plays out there. But at the same time, if semis are good, this is going to be good. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I
think
I like it a lot.
Like,
Either one of
you guys also, you guys see the constant rotation between Circle and CoreWeave? it's the market. Like, there's so much weird stuff going on. Like, literally, Circle was, I think, up 15% yesterday.
Well, Circle went to heaven today. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's had wild moves, but on this news of stable coins coming to a wallet near you, this is a good news. Sorry, I've got the Stocktwits up, and I'm going back and forth between charts. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, we'll look at
they just the momentum traders are like, okay, well, we've made enough on CoreWeave. Let's go to Circle. Oh, too much on Circle. Let's go back to CoreWeave. And it's been like this constant battle over the last couple of weeks watching these guys. They haven't gotten into eToro yet, so I think that's coming up next, but it doesn't have the same kind of crypto / AI momentum to it. It's just a betting site, right? Ultimately.
Well, you look at Coinbase. Coinbase jumped 15% today on this news, right? And any other crypto firm is bound to have some type of reaction. eToro's not so much yet, but we look at Coin. We look at let's see what Robinhood's doing. Robinhood with a little bump, 4%. Nowhere near what Coinbase is doing. Circle, though, again, 22%. This is a Kathy Wood blessed name, almost 23% right now. Nick, when does this parabola slow down, or does it?
I don't. It's gonna slow down, obviously, and we know that.
Eventually.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hopefully so the question is, what parabola are we talking about here? Because we've talked about this many times. I think there's a lot of stuff that haven't done shit in years.
Well, Circle's brand new.
Yes. Oh, you're talking about just these two? Okay.
Yeah, just specific to Circle. I mean, people who bought even up here on the first day of trading, they may have not felt great the first couple of days, but they're up just 97%. I mean, holy cow. No.
Yeah, dude, a lot of these shitcos are going nuts. Look at Upstart today. Jesus, it's like
shitco's coming, baby.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
right?
As long as price is trending, just keep fucking gunslinging.
But it's hard, Nick. This is not easy. Like, I would say this is one of the harder environments to do that personally, because the moves are wild, right? They are having 10. If you're day trading or if you're swing trading a couple of days and a stock goes against you 10% in a matter of 15 minutes, that is hard not to get shaken out of. I'm not saying
the best way to handle that
short term,
you should have you should be well stopped. If you're on a day or short-term swing, like, you're not letting a position move 10% against you.
But that's my whole point, right? Like, look at GRAIL, your position that was down 10% in the first 15 minutes. Like, you're getting stopped out and then watching it run the other way. So it's, to me, this is one of the more exhausting, one of the more harder markets that we've had in a really, really long time. It's a grind. It's a trending grind, but then random, like, face fucks. Sorry. I'll be better about my language, but it's not easy to continue to stay in these names when you do. Like, Lemonade had a 10% down day yesterday, and like, that would stop out anyone. So what I'm saying is, like, on a short-term time frame, right? Like, my entry was in the 30s, so I'm not too worried. Because I think there's a bigger move setting up in Lemonade. I think it clears 55 at the end of the month. But it's hard if you're a short-term Momo trader in this environment. It's exhausting. Look at the best example I can give you is HIMS, right? Look at HIMS. Every day it has an 8 to 10% move higher at some point and then fades it all the way back. Every single day.
I just want to chime in. We have a comment from R. Dallin. They are thinking too hard trying to time the market. No, thanks for watching, but first off, no, we're not trying to time the market at all. I think for anyone who may be a retail trader or new to trading, or even as experienced as the three of us are, this market behavior is a bit weird, and that's all we're pointing out. We all have our long entries, so we understand we buy low and we sell high. So thank you for that, but we're not trying to time anything, and I think the three of us combined would be comfortable in saying that we would rather be in the market long term than trying to time every trade that we're in. So
yeah, dude, the 100%. We're like, right. We talked about AMD, right? That's probably the greatest example of we're not trying to time the market. AMD was a 3-tier buy, right? 121, 100, 75. Those are the 3 tiers to buy in 3 tranches. And if you did those, you are now more than break even, right? You are up. But that's not timing the market. You knew it was possible that AMD could go to 75, so you had to buy in 3 lots.
Yeah, Double Up said it right. As a trader, you buy high and sell high, or as an investor, you buy low and sell high. I really, that hits home with me. And Ardalum, we appreciate you joining the show. So I'm not trying to pick on you. I just want to make sure that anyone who's watching this for the first time, we aren't just saying, flinch on every 5-minute candle. That's not us. That's not these 3 guys.
It's definitely not. And most of it starts on, I think for all of us, starts on the larger time frame, right? Like we start with monthly and weeklies, where the moving average is, where's the supply zone, where's all this stuff that's there on the monthly and then weekly, and then we use dailies to enter. I think that's kind of how, like on long-term investments, I'm not talking about trades, right? We identify a chart that's bullish on multiple time frames. And then when you get weakness on the shorter time frames, you use that as an entry to get long.
Thanks for everybody for joining. We got a nice little crowd in here with us today. But let's get back to coin for a minute. We've talked about coin ad nauseum for the better part of 3 years on our prior show and on this one more recently. Guys, was this just inevitable that coin was going to blast off somewhere? We keep seeing all these formations. You can say head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, V bottoms, whatever you want to call all these different aspects that this chart throws at you. But the stablecoin news, knowing about how much investment comes from big firms into Coinbase, this has got to be a real shot in the arm, right, Nick?
I mean, if you're, I don't know, Joe Schmo next door and you're wanting to have some exposure, you're not to like crypto per se, like you're not buying the crypto miners, like you're buying coin and hood. So even if you're wanting to go out and buy those coins and shit, out on themselves, those are probably the 2 apps you're going to. I mean, other than that, like maybe interactive brokers, but like
Coinbase is the place.
I don't know. I feel like coin and hood to me are kind of like for the long-term investor, like almost no burns. Like you can't not own them. I don't think one or the other. I think hood. I think hood taps a different market. But I think that they're kind of like, I don't know, they're brothers, I think, basically. So I don't know. I just don't think you can't not own them if you're a long term.
You're in hood, right, Nick?
Yeah. Yep.
The crazy part about hood was the director who bought $2 million worth of hood yesterday, right, at this current price. Not saying that inside investors are the best timers of entries, but what it suggests is that long term he sees the vision, right? And it's going to execute at a higher level. We've talked about Hood since it was in the 9s or 10s. You don't fuck with market leaders, market disruptors, and founder led, right? They have put the entire industry on its head since they came in to the markets in 2014, 2015. They have really shown leadership throughout these guys, other guys are managing $10 trillion. They're whatever. Can Hood offer more functionality? Absolutely. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, but they are singularly focused on providing an experience that is unparalleled to any other platform. And as they start to mature,
the ease of access to investing is like 99% of the people out there that don't like have, you know, a Roth setup or some form of like investment account. It's simply because they just don't know how, and this
are intimidated by it.
Easy, or intimidated. 100%. This makes it so easy. I mean, there's, you know, the flip side where like you have access to like, you know, your money and your balance, you know, 24/7. So you're constantly there's the chance that you're going to constantly be pilling with it. But I don't know. I think, yeah, again, I don't think you can't not own it.
Well, you know, coming from the origins of online trading, right? A lot of people latched onto that, but it wasn't mass adopted by everyone. And then when Hood came along, it just made it so simple for people. And people say it was gamified. It's not gamified. It's just a really nice user interface, right? It kind of dumbs things down for you or simplifies it in a way that's not overwhelming or intimidating. And I know I've said some not so positive things about Hood in the past, but since their GME screw up, right? I feel like that they have been on a mission to sort of reinvent that image or rebuild that image. And obviously they didn't lose a ton of users or fallout from that. It might have happened initially, but they are still growing by leaps and bounds, and that's because of their interface. It's just so easy to do whatever it is you need to do as far as finances go in one place.
And Hood got chastised for what every broker did at the same time, right? It's either that or they go insolvent. So I think they've also worked on making sure that they never get to the point of insolvency again. And that's been a big part of their like back end stuff that they've been working on, which gives you more credibility in the future. They had to go get a loan during that GEME. What was it, like $3 billion or investment of $3 billion to make sure they don't go insolvent. They don't become a what was that, Silicon Valley Bank or whatever, right? And so they didn't do anything different. TD Ameritrade at the time had shut down trading to GME. So did Schwab. So did E-Trade, Webull, like whatever those ninja traders, whatever those things were back then. They all went across the board and said, nope, we're gonna go bankrupt if we keep letting you trade this, so we're out. We're gonna stop.
Yeah, it usually is the loudest people who are affected were part of Robinhood, not necessarily the most, right? So I think you saw a large wave of loud people with those complaints as opposed to typical traders or everyday investors who might have come across this before in a stock that they may have been trading on another platform.
Yeah, I mean, whether it was something else, like something getting halted, or like, you know, your internet going out and you losing connection to your broker, like I think every trader's probably experienced something of the sort. I mean, I've
It
even
always
had, like,
hurts
my
when you're in a
keyboard
losing
batteries.
trade, or you could have gained, right? And it doesn't matter who your broker is. If that happens, you're salty about it. You're mad about it. It should have executed. It didn't. Why didn't it? Right? Those are questions that us as retail can't really get answers to, but we can be loud about it on social media and complain.
Well, I think we all know the answers. They just don't say them out loud, right? Like, like when we have, like, if you remember during COVID, not even GME, brokerages were going radio silent consistently on these 10% volatility days because they didn't want to get slammed, right? Like, and it was always interesting to watch during that time because as soon as I saw I'm on TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim, right? As soon as you saw TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim start locking up, you're like, oh, here comes more volatility, because you almost knew it, because it's like, oh, well, it's going to freeze again, and you couldn't really take advantage. I even had trades reversed. Like, I think I bought something, I can't remember what it was, and like after hours, and I came back the next day and those shares are gone from my account, and I'm like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, these were not legit orders, so we're not gonna honor it. I'm like, yeah, but the price was trading there. I don't get it.
Yeah,
and I think that's what people who probably are on Robinhood, at least, especially in those early days, they don't understand that you're basically at the broker's whim, right? If the broker says, sorry, that trade didn't execute, well, there's really nothing you could do about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Enough on this.
Moving on.
And Randy, it is my brokerage, by the way.
I've got the socks up here. I want to talk about semis. Surprise, surprise. Nick, a good bull market is one where semiconductors are partying. They may be leading, but they're at least partying. Do you think we're at party stage with semiconductors?
I mean, they're still range bound, but they all look good. Like, I think, did Clack make all-time highs? Yeah, Clack. So Clack made all-time highs. LRCX was another
Nick,
one.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Pretty good. Trouble with me. Oh, yeah. I think they all look great. From the big ones to the little ones. So,
GP, you talked about AMD earlier. What a hell of a week AMD's already had, and we're just on Wednesday. No trading tomorrow, by the way, right? For Juneteenth.
Yeah, Juneteenth.
Yeah. AMD is such a bitch. I swear.
We'll see if this acts as a Friday type of environment, since the market will then be open on Friday, which will be kind of weird. But right here's AMD. We've talked about this at length, but are either of you surprised that AMD has reclaimed all of its moving averages?
No. It's literally the 2022 pattern. Talked about it while it was happening, which is why there were 3 entries. Literally, they repeated it, and everyone's like, AMD's going to 30. And I'm like, in the middle of a bull market, in the middle of an AI tech boom, you have almost every chip not named Broadcom, NVIDIA, and TSM in 60 to 80% drawdowns, right? Like, it is nuts. It was literally, even though the markets weren't down 37%, the entire chip sector was getting the 2022 treatment. So it's a little different than 2022, but it was entirely the same exact setup.
Nick, are you still trading Clack and LRCX?
I don't have either currently. I was just going to mention ALAB, being that it looks like it's about basically breaking out right now. No, I don't have either Clack or LRCX currently. So I do have NVIDIA, and I do actually have ALAB too. So
ALAB looks good.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Like, I swear, AMD is just one of those names that, like, I mean, obviously it was a laggard, but I've had a hell of a time trading that.
Terrible trader.
No,
notoriously terrible trader.
It's the advanced money destroyer is the nickname, right? Like, it's you buy you don't buy this on breakouts. You buy it on death moments. It is like, I think I posted a chart earlier this week. There is nothing more guaranteed in life than AMD having a completely shit day on an event and then going up 20% from there. It's literally exactly what happens every time. Like they could not sell it enough into Friday, and all of a sudden Monday comes around, they can't buy it enough, and you're like, what? And it happens all the time with AMD. You don't trade AMD personally, unless you're doing like
you just buy it and hold
leaps, right? I guess Jay Powell said something that the market didn't like.
Sorry, I had to pull Jay Powell up. He's at the press podium right now, reading from his laptop. It would appear. We'll see if any market action has anything. The dot plots, they're showing that on the screen right now. Whoopity doo, we all love that. They're still anticipating 2 rate cuts at some point this year, but right now is not that time. So we'll see how that goes forward as we reach the middle of the year.
So do we get so let's take a bet. Angry Trump tweets at 3:30, 4:30, or rage tweeting around 8 tonight?
Yeah, I got nothing for you. I can't predict that.
Okay. These are betting markets that would be awesome, right? When does Trump go on a rage tweet against Jay Powell? Because there is no reason they should not be at least cutting a quarter or 50 basis points. There's just none. There's no reason for the market to be at 4.5.
We said this all the way through 2022, right? Was the Fed starts too late and then they stay too long. And I think we have all three been on the case of some type of cut should have happened within the last year, right? Some type of easing likely should have happened over the last year to 18 months. Maybe I'm crazy.
It's. I think it's nuts, right?
I don't get paid to make those kind of decisions. So
Nick just says, "Fuck it, we'll just trade what we got."
Yeah. That's all we can do.
Yeah, my concern, Nick, is that the longer this stays the way it is, it starts to hamper the economy over a longer period of time, right? Like we want to be in a position to be able to grow, right? And if growing requires maybe a little uptick in inflation, which I don't think will happen anyway if you go from 4.5 to 4, but your debt easing goes down, everything goes down. I think people feel more comfortable that there's, even if you did a quarter point and then didn't do another one for a year, it would show people as investors in houses and stuff that the Fed is committed to growing the economy meaningfully, right? And then you see more optionality in people taking money out of treasury markets, out of money market accounts, and putting it to work, whether it's small businesses, whether it's the stock market, whether it's buying a new house. It unlocks a lot of stuff. But if we've been data dependent since September, 2024? Or longer than that, I think, right? Anyway, I just think a good faith cut would help spur good economic activity without causing too much inflation. And where our inflation's at 2% or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's a little more than 2%, but 2 point something, yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, I've got the U.S. 10-year chart up here. What would you say that would you be buying that chart or would you be selling that chart? That's the monthly time frame. There's the weekly.
I'd be a buyer.
You'd be a buyer of that chart?
Yeah.
I mean, you practically have a range from, let's just call it September 2022, right? Till now, that's 144 weeks. You'd be a buyer that higher?
I mean, yeah. Can you scrunch that in again?
Yeah. Oh, out or in?
In. The other way.
So see more bars.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd be a buyer. That's not something I pay much attention. I don't pay much attention to it.
TNX is roughly the same chart. US 30-year. Let's look at that one. Same look. All right, that's enough. That's enough of this episode of Bonds Talk with Gautam, Nick, and Ben.
Dude, we have to say what's macro. We are not macro people, so we are anecdotal evidence people. So
coin is still popping. Eye of the day on old coin.
Absolutely brilliant. They did have 350 calls that they were buying for June a couple of weeks ago. When the S&P announcement came, that would be nuts if it got in the money by Friday.
I had 300 calls for Friday.
Nice.
I sold them. I was a loser until now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you could have gotten the 280 calls for 20 cents this morning.
I know. I'm aware.
But this is coin, right? Coin does this nowadays. Remember when we first started talking about it in the 50s and 60s? It was always kind of a bitch to trade, but it was pretty consistent, and it was trending up and to the right. And over the last year, coin has pretty much failed it only moves for like 2 days at a time or 3 days at a time, and then gets clobbered again. So let's see if this one actually has more.
I mean, this is your fucking mother bar here.
Like, yeah, but look at the other mother bars. Every mother bar is like, I'm gonna in the face.
Sure.
Yeah.
Every mother bar has its father bar or something like that.
I mean,
I own shares, so I'm just gonna wait for it, but
yeah.
But if
you're looking at phenomenal, there's a lot of. Look at what?
The global financial market.
Look at Goldman Sachs.
Looks phenomenal. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I own Goldman.
Yep, same here. Goldman, look at Hims. Oh, this thing looks so gorgeous. This is going to 100.
For sure.
Welcome to the self-patting of the back episode that we like to have. This is the segment where we tout our own positions and are proud of them. No shame.
Yeah, but so let's talk about a position we don't own, right? This is one that people have been trying to figure out what's the right scenario to do. Is United Healthcare, UNH, right? This is one that in the middle of a bull market has absolutely gotten wrecked based on some news. So to me, I think this goes lower, but everyone thinks it's going to go higher. And I like being in the minority. What do you guys think?
I love a hated stock. You know that about me. But I hate healthcare. So for me, it's a do not touch.
Okay. So Ben, when we get to the level I think we're going to get to, which is 207, 220 to 207 is where I think you should like healthcare in the way of not owning the stock, but selling puts a year out, getting that long-term capital gains and collecting that premium, because the premium is going to be nuts if it gets there.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised about my call selling and put selling strategy this week, because I've absolutely got kicked in the dick, and that's okay. That's okay. I can't be 100% and time them perfectly, but I'm likely to get called away in a couple positions, but that's okay. I already had sell orders and I was willing to let them go. But the one that I had a put on that I was really hoping that I would get assigned the shares was Coinbase to 240. And I had it for like a split second. And then it's gone. It's really gone now. But I marked GP 220-207 down here. I love to have notations on the chart. But I'll put that on UNH. But for me, no, I have no interest in United Healthcare.
Well, let's talk to the trade here, right? So Why I think it's a great place to sell puts. And if you're looking at puts, let's say June of next year, right? June of next year, the current 310 puts are $47, right? And the 220 level is the 200 SMA, right? On the weekly or the monthly, whatever it is. It is a level where these puts will go astronomical. You'll get close to, I would say 20-25% return on your capital by just selling the puts. And all that requires, let's say it gets to 220, if you sell puts, the only thing you need to do is have 20,000 cash, right?
Right.
So it's a great way to put cash to work without owning the stock. Yes, it could continue dying and stuff like that, but you're looking at a blue chip name. This is not some shitco, right? It's a blue chip name. People will step in, management will change, whatever needs to happen. But once it gets to that level, selling puts will be a great way to finance your cash. Or you get long UNH. At that point, if UNH gets to 220, those puts will be around the same price that they are now, which is 47. So you're basically going to be long UNH from 170, which is a great place to be long if it continues to go down, right? Unless they declare bankruptcy. But if SMCI doesn't declare bankruptcy, I think UNH will be okay.
Nick, what do you think about United Health?
On the short term, I was kind of thinking we'd see a bounce into 400 soon, before like it continuing to roll. It would be like if I was looking for go-to shorts, if the market overall started to top, started to roll over, it'd be a name I would be going after to the short side. But it's just not, I don't know, my kind of trade. But either way, I kind of think it's going to bounce into 400 first before, if it does kind of continue to.
It is not your cheeseburger in paradise.
It failed the 3 weeks tight, Nick. That's what makes me cautious about it. The 3 weeks tight should have been, to me, a pattern that should have taken it much higher, right? Over the last week or this week. Last week was 3 weeks tight.
My first thought, it went from basically it being like a 3 week tight to almost like an actual bear flag. At the same time, like, price is holding tight, it's not moving, and we're not following through to the downside, which, like, again, if you're a bull and you kind of bought the, like, I don't know, any kind of, sub 300 shares or what, and on whatever trade, it's like that's kind of what you want to see hold. But I don't know, like, I don't have any skin in the game.
Yeah,
I think that it could, within that wide range massive bar, I think it could go after the highs or lows of that candle pretty easily.
Yeah, and I think I know exactly why it's not breaking down here. When it went to the 250 area, they sold a lot of puts in the June timeframe. So you've got the support. So I'd like to see how it behaves next week after all of that stuff gets. They were closing out a bunch of those yesterday for a penny. So I know they were sold. So I'd like to definitely see how it behaves next week, because I think the support's going to be gone. They didn't sell puts for July when it was down there. They didn't sell it for August. They sold a lot for June. So temporary bounce, and I would like to see next week.
Hey guys, you feel like looking at some charts and giving some analysis on a few names?
Yeah, let's do it.
We have 10 minutes. This episode has flown by, and surprisingly, we haven't seen the, at least I don't think we've seen the crazy Powell fluctuations here that we normally see. Not yet, at least. We've got a little down action happening right now. But the first one, and thanks for asking for me to do the analysis. That doesn't happen regularly. But Target and retail is just a hard place to be in. I mean, you've got this range that's in right here. I think anything below $90, you want to be really suspect on it. At least I would be. We're running into the weekly 9 right there. It's failed off of it again and again and again. So first, I would want to see a weekly reclaim of that before I got too excited. So it's sitting at 97.34. Let's just call it a bill. Let's just call it $100. I would like to see a weekly close above $100 before I got too excited. Now, when I go back down to the daily time frame, it's just grinding down there against those moving averages. You can look at it as a potential bear flag, or you could see it as consolidation. I don't really see any volume in there that's giving me conviction that this is a drop every dime that I have into this name. But I would want to see it above 100 to get interested, and I would not be interested until it based below somewhere around 90. Guys, will you have a take on that?
It's a no for me.
It's a no. It's a no.
That is, I'm in the same camp. That is not a great looking chart. Volume is just starting to pick up to the downside.
Yep.
Right? Like look at the quarter. If you go to the monthly, look at the quarterly. Volume is just picking up to the downside here. Which
I don't like it. It would have to hold 90 for me to be interested, and it is above that right now.
They've got so much shit to figure out. Yeah.
That said, if we get to like 71, I would potentially put on a fairly decent position there, because I think you get. But right, I will not be in a rush to put on a position there after this much technical damage. It's going to take a lot, right?
Yeah, not retail's just hard, and there are better retailers. I mean, for one of my largest positions is Amazon. There's nothing that Target can do other than offer a physical store that Amazon can't. Walmart has a better chart than Target, obviously. Walmart, so I know the question probably derives from I want to buy cheap shares and watch it moon. I would rather see it get some legs under it before just jumping in front of a speeding train. That's just me. Let's move on. ANET from our pal Randy. Nick, you got anything on ANET?
I like it. I mean, I think it looks good.
It looks great.
Looking at the chart, kind of again another one of those kind of inverse head and shoulder looks to it. I mean, I think it's got a 120 magnet on it. I think that's kind of where it's going, at least in the short term.
I'd like to see it above 94.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like a big double bottom, especially it looks like almost like a double bottom within that range. So you've got the range from 80 to 100. As soon as it busts above that, I don't know. I like it a lot, actually.
I would say 60 to 90 is probably a pretty good place to look at right there. GP, got any words of advice on ANET?
Monthly, lots of wicks at this area. Weekly kind of looks like a bear flag.
Yeah, you got some
on the weekly
push down in the wicks on the monthly for sure.
Yeah, so would need to clear that area in this market where things are not doing well with the top end of the pivots and doing better at the bottom end of the pivots. You would need to see those personally clear, right? Like Marvell, right? That's another one that is strong today, right? But can't get past that gap down if you look at the daily. Right? Where it got to the gap down, boom, wick. Like this is the market that we've been experiencing for the most part, is you get to pivot highs and you get slammed. So I would take a lot of these on either the break above and push through, or if they get to the bottom of the middle range here. So the gap down kind of stopped for Marvell around 65, 64, somewhere around there. So I would look to so ANET's the same thing, right? So I'm just giving other examples of stocks, right? There's a lot of buying in ANET, but there's also a lot of selling if you look at the daily.
Yep.
So I would want to see it get over that big gap down from what is it, end of January 2025, which is a low of 97.68, and I feel a lot more comfortable. And if you can't wait that long, the way to do it would probably be wider stops and add on confirmation, right? Buy here, buy a third of the, so very much like AMD, right? Buy a third of the position, etc. So
I think
Randy's already got about.
I think he's already got a starter on, so he's probably looking to add either versus like the low end of the base. So probably like, yeah, probably adding here if not through 100. I would imagine.
Yeah, I like a starter here. A very, very defined trade, in my opinion. If you take a starter here, you give it down to that bar right there, in my opinion. So like 86.50, then you lose all those moving averages and the trade's over with, or it goes higher. So I think it's a defined trade. We've got time for two more names. GP, you're up. Uber.
Holding where it needs to, but I'm not very confident about it, to be honest. Had a position and cleared it out a couple days ago. It just felt like it was testing that breakout level, that 82 level, too many times. So it's kind of a rising wedge. If you look at the daily, today's a big volatility bar in it. Big volatility bar, right? And so to me, I just don't like it. On the daily, it looks like it's a head and shoulders above the pivot, right? You can see the two shoulders there on the right. Had a pretty big reversal at 93, and this has been a pair trade with Tesla over the last couple of, I think last 12 months or something like that. So Tesla's behaving like crap too, so don't get me wrong, but Robotaxi is next week. If there's positive momentum from Tesla, they're going to sell down Uber. So I don't like this setup, plus the pair trade potential there. Because if you can see, I think it was, what was it, like April 2024 when Tesla announced the Robotaxis coming next year. Uber had a nasty day, and it's been kind of paired together ever since. But I don't like the daily.
So after years of waiting, we get Robotaxis tomorrow. How exciting!
Not
last
tomorrow.
one, IONQ, if I can spit it out.
Oh, J Powell. Sorry.
How about you, Nick? IONQ.
I mean, I think of the quantum names, it's the one. It's probably the leader. I think ARQQ was moving a little bit better today than the others, but I don't know. I feel like quantum's kind of one of those. It's kind of a tough group because it's like you're basically you're lotto trading it and waiting for some news to hit, because it's not like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm no fucking like rocket. Like, I don't know. I'm not a genius that knows what half this shit means when they're talking about quantum this and chips that. I'm like, dude, it all sounds the same to me. If it like sounds exciting, like, okay, great. But it's like the quantum shit. Like, dude, people don't even know what they don't know. So it's
you
like,
know what I'm doing. You already know what I'm doing. It's the Batman. It's Batman.
Yeah, I'm not in your. I don't agree with you there. I'm not.
I'm not saying it goes to 13. I'm just drawing Batman.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way about kind of like quantum as I did like coin and hood. Like for a long-term investor that has like a, like they're picking stocks in their portfolio. Like I think quantum, like just fucking one. I mean, if you want the leader though, this IONQ is the one to go after. But
Randy said just buy IBM.
No, so
by IBM or Google.
I was talking to someone who has their portfolio 30% in QBTS, right, in the quantum names, and he was trying to sell me on QB, like this quantum computing. I'm like, dude, these companies make hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're valued in the billions. Like okay, you're right now, but if you don't take those profits, I think a lot of this stuff comes back to earth at some point. You're pricing.
It just finished up, and we all got kicked in the balls. That's what happened right there. Look, here you go. Whoop.
Yeah, there we go. What's the fucking dealio? So that's gonna be kind of weird with us closed tomorrow and then back open Friday, and then we do a short week next week also, right?
No, not next week. I just did the stupid holiday. Sorry, I know why they would do the holiday, but can they just plan it better? Can they make it a Monday or a Friday? Or I know it's the day it actually happened, but you haven't acknowledged this holiday in like 100 and something years. Can you make it a long weekend for everyone? Sorry, I'll stop.
I think with that, we'll wrap up the show. That'll be the end. We're at the end anyway. So, hey, everyone, thanks for watching Stocktwits Community Rip Live. For Nick, for Gautam, I'm Ben. Peace out. We'll see you next Wednesday at 2 p.m.